Most of us have played that game that's impossible to finish. The one game where you waste life after life trying to pass a level, and nothing works. But the internet made it so easy nowadays, you can just watch a walkthrough and easily pass any level. But before, you couldn't even dream of such a thing. To find out how a video game ended, you had to beat it yourself. Yet, it didn't always work, and some endings remained a mystery for many people. Hello everyone and welcome back! Today we are going to show you how these games ended, and I'm sure you'll be surprised. But first, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel, as we have so many interesting topics for you. Flappy Bird. This is a simple game created by the Vietnamese designer Dong Nguyen, which by the way took him only a couple of days. The game was originally called Flap, but there was already a game with that name in the App Store, so he had to come up with a new idea. So Flappy Bird was born on May 24th on 2013. Later in the same year, the game went viral, and everyone on social media was talking about it. The overall impression was something like, "I hate this game, but I just can't stop playing it." It seemed that it was impossible to get to the end of the Flappy Bird because no one had enough nerve cells for it. Nevertheless, people tried hard, and it seems that someone managed to do it well. The game ends exactly as it started. After scoring 999 points, the bird meets Mario and the game ends. What a shame! Pac-Man. Pac-Man is a classic video game and probably one of the most important ones. This visually simple arcade game was created in 1980 by the Japanese company Namco. The player controls Pac-Man and has to eat all the dots in the maze while avoiding the ghosts. Each of the ghosts has its own pattern of behavior, but at level 21 they accelerate and the game becomes much more difficult. But is it possible to win? The stubborn players have found out that there is not an answer to that. According to the developers of the Pac-Man game, it doesn't have an end because the increasing complexity of the game wouldn't let you go too far. However, some players were able to pass the 255 levels of the game, which took them several hours. They eventually found out an error on level 256 that not even developers knew about. Billy Mitchell is a devoted fan of the game. On July 3rd in 1999, Mitchell scored his first perfect result of 3,333,360 points in the original Pac-Man. A must go down in history. Okay, so after level 256, the left half of the maze is displayed correctly, and the right half is a random set of colored numbers, letters, and other symbols. However, there is a way to pass this level, and after that, the game resumes on level 1, but the enemies move at the highest speed, and if you complete this level as well, then nothing happens. You just be thrown out to the main screen and offered to start over. Very disappointing. Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is another arcade game released by Nintendo in 1981. It's one of the earliest platformer games in history. You have to move your character across a range of platforms and jump over obstacles. In the game, Mario, originally named Mr. Video and then Jumpman, has to save damsel in distress. She was called Pauline, although initially she was a simple lady. Well, the villain here is a giant gorilla named Donkey Kong. It seemed like the developer suspected how cool it was going to be because they created 3 different endings for Donkey Kong. In the first ending, Mario drops the gorilla and reunites with his lady. In the second ending, Mario drops the gorilla on himself and dies, and the lady is left alone upstairs. And the third ending is probably the strangest. Mario drops the lady and reunites with the gorilla. You could even see a little heart between them, and it seems that they are both a little confused, just like us. Battletoads. Battletoads is often called one of the most difficult video games of the 8-bit era. At first, this game was created to compete with the game Teenage Mutant Ninja, but very quickly became a completely independent work of art. In the 90s, completing Battletoads was considered something incredible and heroic. Even serious game reviewers criticized Battletoads for its difficulty, and some players described it as outrageous. Nevertheless, the game became an absolute hit. The game ends up with the final boss waiting for the heroes at the top of the Dark Tower. It was a Dark Queen. After defeating her, she, like a good villain, declares that this is not the end, then spins and flies into the space. After rescuing Pimpo and Princess Angelica, the four return to the SS Vulture and the game ends. Tetris. As we have been talking about some other games and how their creators didn't even bother to come up with a decent ending, you probably don't expect anything special from Tetris, which is a very simple game. You just have to put some blocks on top of each other. However, there are two endings for this game. In one of them, you're greeted by some classic video game characters in a pixel cathedral. The domes of the cathedral fly away somewhere outside the screen, as if everything before wasn't strange enough. In the second ending, the temple flies away completely, and all this while a cheerful music is playing. After that, you're offered to write your name on the high score list. Duck Hunt. If you grew up in the 90s, you are probably familiar with this game. It was incredibly popular. More than 28 million copies of the game were sold, making Duck Hunt the second best-selling game. In this game, you have to hit the ducks flying out of the grass. One or two, depending on the game mode you choose in the story. The ducks are forced to fly by a hunting dog. You have 3 bullets to shoot the targets. When you hit the duck, the dog victoriously sticks his head out of the grass showing the prey. And when you miss it, the dog laughs. Sadly, like many early video games, Duck Hunt doesn't have any epic ending. When you reach level 99 and complete the game, you go back to level 0 and see a duck rain. It's literally raining ducks and it's impossible to shoot. And the laughing dog appears. You don't know exactly what you expect to get as a reward. Contra. The goal of this arcade game is to defeat the villains. The bad guys are an organization known as Red Falcon. They want to destroy all humanity, and the villains are controlled by aliens. Bill Mad Dog Riser and Scorpion Beam are the fighters who have to deal with all this. The mission is not over just by exterminating the terrorists. They also have to destroy the alien heart in the den of the aliens, and this is not an easy task. The game ends with a helicopter leaving the island, which explodes beautifully for an 8-bit game, of course. After that, you can see the congratulatory message which reports that the villains are destroyed, the Earth is saved, and you are the hero. Earthworm Jim. This story has become iconic. A superhero worm mutated after finding a special robotic suit, and his mission is to save the princess. In addition, he has to fight against enemies who want to get hold of his suit. The game ends with Jim defeating all the enemies and saving the princess. However, she doesn't have time to reciprocate Jim's feelings. The princess is squashed on a flying cow, which was launched at the beginning of the game by Jim himself. The character goes away in disappointment, and the princess, along with the cow, falls into the lava. However, a few seconds later, Jim returns and takes the gold crown of the princess, so nothing would be wasted. Chrome T-Rex game. Every Chrome user has seen this game. When you're trying to open a website and suddenly the internet connection fails for some unknown reason, Chrome shows you a simple one-player game. A pixel dinosaur who has to run and jump over obstacles, gaining points. The game was played 270 million times a month. It got to the point that creators had to think about disabling the game. since adults and children, instead of working or studying, prefer to play it. Just like any other game, this one also has an end. Or it should have, right? The dinosaur keeps running faster and faster. After the day comes the night. It can last forever. According to Google Chrome UX engineer, it is going to take about 17 million years to complete the game. But I'm sure your keyboard couldn't handle it. How many of these games among the list have you played? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching and make sure to like this video and share it with your friends. And I will see you in the next video.